a revelation.
There is something else going on that has to do with being a Black woman in America.
You're a witness and the revelation.
When African immigrants and Caribbean immigrants come here, their babies are equal to white babies in size. But after a generation, then they start to look like African American babies, even when they're from the poorest countries. Repeated insults to your psyche over and over and over again, it revs up your system so that it actually starts to wear you down. You take a woman who is essentially having a stress test to her body, which is pregnancy and childbirth, and you put her in this volatile situation where she's weathered and worn down by repeated insults, and then she's in a system that maybe isn't out for her best interest. You get a volatile mix.
Why did you use our family to talk about immigration and sanctuary?
That is a good question. Thank you. So Sanctuary is a piece that looks at the experience of mothers leaving their daughters in their home country in the process of coming to America. And that was something that happened to me and our family. It is something that happens to millions of children every year, all across the globe, whether they're traveling to America or to Europe or to some other gateway safe city or place in search of refuge. And I know for myself, there was this gap, right? There was a disconnect in feeling whole because of the way in which immigration shaped my life. And I saw that it was an opportunity to actually repair my relationship with my mother and develop a stronger relationship with my daughter. And so I decided to create Sanctuary in order to support healing for other people who have similar stories.
So today I call attention to Harriet Tubman's cornbread, because we talk about her as a freedom fighter, but we never think about how she survived. We never asked who fed the woman who rescued 300 odd people, was a Union Scout, and was so about it. She had not one but 2 pistols. Who nourished her? And so today I ask you to recognize the beauty of the ways in which Black women have held and supported each other. Sometimes we've had to midwife our own babies. Sometimes we've had to wet nurse our sisters. There are times where you have had to bury a family member, a friend, a church members, loved ones, and still cook all the food for the repast. These are traditions that have been carried on that, because they have saved us, have allowed us to then and continue to save America.
What part of you did you use to make cornbread communion?
So Cornbread Communion is a piece that looks at the example of Harriet Tubman as a mythical figure. The artist Yasin Bey has a line in which he says, we pay tribute to our heroes so that we don't have to be them. And it always sat with me. What does it mean to make someone so larger than life that you kind of give yourself a backdoor out of doing the work? And when I think about Harriet Tubman to me is a figure we make larger than life so that we don't have to do the work of finding freedom. And with Cornbread Communion, I was thinking about all of the people who supported Harriet Tubman and all of the different ways in which Harriet Tubman was as a person, right? So she wasn't just this mythical figure who freed slaves. Harriet Tubman was a Union Scout. She was a nurse. She was a spy. She was an organizer. She was an auntie. She was a friend, a counselor. And she played all of these roles in collaboration with other women, right? And so I thought about the many facets of Harriet Tubman and the many types of women and many relationships with women that supported her. And in my research, I came across a recipe for cornbread Harriet Tubman. And the story behind it was that it was a recipe that was actually made for Harriet Tubman, right? It was like a favorite of hers. And then I remake the cornbread recipe in the spirit of having communion with each other. What does it mean to feed the person who's out here serving others? What does it mean to care for each other?
And
so,
have 2 pistols.
yes, and Harriet Tubman definitely had 2 guns. So the idea is, can you put down so many guns to have this cornbread? So it was a project of like the heart and mind and community.
12 through 16. Wisdom is radiant and unfading.
Witness Wisdom was this piece that looked at the many ways in which Black women know, right? So there's something called epistemology, which is the study of how we know. And for me, Black women's knowledge is not in a book, right? It's not something you get at school. We pass on knowledge through how we look at each other. We pass on knowledge through how we embrace each other. We pass on knowledge through ways we do each other's hair, how we do each other's makeup, how we give each other counsel. And Witness Wisdom wanted to celebrate the many ways in which we know. And to do that, it was a process of inviting all of these dynamic and diverse Black women to share the ways in which they know. And so women prayed, women wrote poems, women wrote stories, women gardened, women braided hair, women drummed, women sang songs, women choreographed, women were designers. And so,
and one important thing,
yes.
women were hearts.
Yes, and they brought their heart to it, right?
And she is easily discerned by those who love her and is found by those who seek her. She hastens to make herself known to those who desire her. One who rises early to seek her will have no difficulty, for she will be found sitting at the gate. To fix one's thought on her is perfect understanding, and one who is vigilant on her account will soon be free from care, because she goes about seeking those worthy of her, and she graciously appears to them